MCAT quiz time, see if you can identify a reducing sugar. A student tests several carbohydrates using Benedict's reagent. Which of the following would be the least likely to produce a color change? Benedict's reagent is something that we put into a solution to identify if the solution has a reducing sugar. And if there is a reducing sugar, it's going to produce a red color. So for these four answer options, you need to be looking to identify which one is not a reducing sugar. And when you do this, the first thing that you need to do is to identify the anomeric carbons. The anomeric carbon is always the carbon that's attached to two oxygens. And then once you identify the anomeric carbon, you need to see, is that carbon attached to an OH group? So is one of those oxygens part of an OH group? If there is an OH group, then that means that the sugar is reducing. Let's try to identify these starting with option B. First, find your anomeric carbon. Here is that anomeric carbon because it's attached to two oxygens. And notice that one of those oxygens is part of the OH group. So there is an OH group attached to that anomeric carbon. So that means that this sugar is reducing. For option C, the anomeric carbon is here because it's attached to those two oxygens, and one of those is an OH group, so this one is also a reducing sugar. For option B, we have a disaccharide. So we need to do this for the first sugar in that disaccharide and for the second sugar. In the first sugar, here's the anomeric carbon. Those are the two oxygens that it's attached to, and notice that neither of those is an OH group. So the first sugar here does not have reducing capabilities. However, the second sugar, its anomeric carbon is right there, and it is attached to an OH group. So that means that the second sugar here does have reducing capabilities. So overall, option B is a disaccharide that is reducing. Now for option A, the first sugar on the left has its anomeric carbon right here. It's attached to these two oxygens, and neither of those is an OH group, so that one is not reducing. For the second sugar of this disaccharide on the right, its anomeric carbon is right here, and here are those two oxygens that it's attached to. And notice that again, neither one of those is an OH group. So for option A, neither of those sugars is reducing, so overall it's not a reducing sugar, so it will not produce a color change whenever Benedict's reagent is used.